Panama. Panamania starts now for all of those of you whose eardrums didn't just burst. Welcome to the Sortis Hotel Spa and Casino here in Panama City for day 2 of the PokerStars Championship Panama main event. I am James Hartigan. He is Joe Stapleton.
Hello, my babies. 2 beers, $3.
Nice.
We had 2 beers each and chicken wings. Total bill, $20.
I don't think you can argue with that. So we're getting cards in the air. 75-minute levels on day 2. The first level we're going to play today, level 9. Blinds are 500, 1,000, a 100 ante. Let's get to the action. And a quick reminder, hashtag PokerStarsTV, live chat at twitch.tv/PokerStars. Action is on. Ryan Reiss, a former World Series main event champ. He has folded. Jake Cody comes into play with just 36k. He is out of this hand. Round to the table chip leader, Lokesh Garg, and that looks like a raise from Garg in the cutoff. He's made it 2,600 to go.
Early front runner for my favorite name of all time of the day, Lokesh Garg. Fonseca Masis, not bad either though for a second name.
So this will be the cutoff against the small blind as we go heads up to our first flop of the day. That flop, King, Queen, 8. A reminder that we will be whole cards down for the first 4 days, cards up for the final day.
Looks like Lokesh is continuing.
A few of the regs are in on Twitter already. Spear says, welcome back, boys. This is one of the longest gaps we've ever had between live streams. It's pretty much 2 months since we signed off from the Bahamas at the start of 2017.
And I'd like to say hello to all the babies on Twitch. Matt's keeping those guys entertained in the chat, asking a lot about Jamie Staples. Jamie's very short, I believe. Also does not have many chips.
Yeah, didn't come in with a very big stack. So this went check on the turn after the C-bet of 2,800 on the flop. Enrique is on point with his timing. Woke up from a nap 3 minutes ago, and the stream began. Hashtag timing. Well, that is Jack 10.
And that's going to be good enough.
First pot of the day goes to Alberto Fonseca Masis. His stack is now up over 100,000. Jane Windsor says, I got to meet Jake Cody at the London Festival in January. Super nice guy. Now I am a huge fan. Very little not to like about Jake Cody, especially those video blogs, am I right?
He's lovable.
So we're going to keep an eye on some of the famous faces in the field as well. We've got a couple of, well, we've got more than a couple. We've got a few spin and go qualifiers still in. A couple of them very interesting stories. None more interesting than Alan White, a guy from Canada who worked from the for the Correctional Services Department there, had to take early retirement due to suffering from work-related stress, considered moving to Panama. You've retired. Where you want to live the rest of your life? So said, do you know what? There's a poker tournament taking place in Panama. Maybe I can try and qualify for it and check out the place. Fired up a spin and go, ticket, won it, boom.
Well, it's interesting. You said he's Canadian.
Yes.
Okay. Because Panama and Canada were named in very similar ways.
I can't believe I accidentally teed him up for this joke.
Now, I can't believe this guy teed me up. Thank you very much, Alan. I appreciate it. You know, I would imagine that stress-related retirement was probably common in the prison guard game.
Yes. We've got an all-in here.
I can't imagine Canadian prisoners being that rowdy, though.
Brenes shoving for his last 13 bigs from under the gun +1. Here's a little fun fact. Hashtag fun facts. Aleks Brenes is one of the first people I ever did poker commentary on. He was the captain of the Costa Rican team in the 2005 World Cup of Poker when I made my debut as a poker announcer.
2005, easy with the war stories, Gramps.
Undersea Monkey says, I thought the intro to today was meant to be like that. It had a cool sense of disorientation and foreboding. So 2 hands played so far.
So the same 2 guys that founded Canada.
Oh God, he's still going.
Were somehow the same people that founded Panama, and they named the country in a very similar way. So they were like, so hey, what do you think we should call this new country, eh? And this time it was the other guy who kicked things off, and he said, well, I think it should have P, eh? And it should probably have an N, eh? And you know what? Maybe it should have an M, eh? And that's how they named it Panama. You hoser.
Thank you for the golf applause, Matt Broughton, who literally arrived 1 hour ago following the culmination of that final table in Rozvadov. Can you believe it? A 3-day final table. Paul Lee Jones, I think, is curled up into a corner somewhere at King's Casino.
If you were going to do Cards Up on the final day, that would have been a week-long Cards Up broadcast. Is this guy a wizard? Are you a wizard? This dude on Twitch just said, you told that joke yesterday during testing. Hope I didn't say anything else funny during testing. Haha. Garg, back in action.
Raising to 2,600 under the gun +1. All in from Aleks Brenes.
Lokesh Garg on vacation from his day job of hunting down the Smurfs. Gillingham on Twitch says, is there a Costa Rica naming story? No, unfortunately there is not.
And a call from the table captain. And apparently it's a race. 7s against Ace-Jack. Brenes was the slight advantage with the pocket pair.
Like the Canada naming story versus the Panama naming story, one of these 2 hands has a slight mathematical advantage.
Well, this is a race that Aleks Brenes needs to win to stay in this tournament. By the way, the tournament clock showing 366 total entries now, so it looks like 4 players have bought in at the start of the day, and look at that. Garg flops Broadway. Brenes knows he needs running cards.
He needs a pair or a 7.
That seals his fate. Drawing dead on the turn, and Aleks Brenes, 1/3 of the Brenes brothers, a WPT champ, exits the arena on only the 4th hand of day 2 of the main event here in Panama.
Ship it to Garg. That's going to be the rally cry for Garg.
Well, our friend Lokesh Garg is now up to 118,000, nearly 120 big blinds.
Sorry, I have an itch. I'm just using my mic to get it. Garg, 120 big blinds.
So now Marc-Olivier Perrault is the low man at the table with just shy of 20 big blinds. Average stack right now, 63,000. So we've got a few players, Perrault, Cody, and Escobar, who have below average stacks. Joe, you realize that Jake Cody actually registered this tournament late yesterday afternoon after more than 24 hours of travel.
It takes a long time to get here from some places, huh?
Yes, and obviously with delays, transfers. I think Jake had been on the road for like 36 hours, arrives at the casino, immediately late registers the main event.
Delays, transfers, hangovers. Your usual Jake Cody
I posted
repertoire.
it earlier. I forget what it is, though. Let's see. PokerStars.tv/live. You want to tell your family and friends?
Thank you, Ryan Reiss, for the commercial. Although, sadly, the only people hearing that commercial are already watching.
Smitty's a big fan of the dealers in white. Luckily, Clara has a shirt that fits today. Yesterday, she was swimming in it.
Garg is opened under the gun. Jake Cody folds the button. No small blind. Just Jairo Escobar in the big.
This is a night on Twitch. Says Garg is not an American name. No, it is not American. It's American.
Stefan wants to know when he can get the password for today's PokerStars TV free roll.
Yes.
Everything in good time, Stefan. I appreciate there's not that long to go till the game starts, but we'll make sure you get that info during the first session of the day, before the first break of the day.
I would just like everyone to know that whenever I say the word Panama, I'm actually singing the Van Halen song Panama, but I'm not allowed to
Well, it didn't stop Lee Jones and Rosvedov.
for copyright reasons. So, but just imagine whenever I say Panama, that's me singing it, okay?
I think the entire live streaming budget for 2018 has already been spent, courtesy of the royalty payments we're going to be paying out after Lee sang not just Panama, but a variety of ditties during the two-day Rosvedov stream. I guess when we record the next episode of the Poker in the Ears podcast, Matt's going to have some stories from Rosvedov.
And some splaining to do. I've already got a story from here in Panama that I'm itching to tell you guys, what I'm going to say for the podcast.
So raise from Alberto, Fonseca, Masis, called by both Ryan Reiss and Lokesh Garg. Three-way to this flop. Ace, Jack, 5, rainbow.
Garg! I think that's what I'm going to say to Lee Jones from now on. Whenever I see him, show me your ditties.
Well, Fonseca, Masis has continued this flop, the 2,600. Ryan Reiss is folded. Garg, in. Four of spades on the turn. Board gets wheelier. Flush draw out there now.
I'm going to need a spit bucket if I keep doing this Garg bet. I can't drink this much water. My body will reject it. We saw Garg blasting off with probably nothing before. This time he is in the passenger seat.
$4,600.
Can you show me any chips you have? I don't know what that means, but I see people do it all the time.
So a second barrel of 4,600, and now the check raise from Garg. Not a huge raise. 11,600.
Yeah, small raise from a relatively small bet. Second Masis, undeterred.
A deuce on the river. 4 cards straight out there now. And having taken the betting lead on the turn, Garg fires river. And I don't think Fonseca Masis likes that bet. 12,500. He looked visibly repulsed as the chips went in.
It seems like relatively weak body language the way that Garg threw his chips in like that. Obviously, we've been doing commentary on this guy for about 11 minutes, so
yes,
no real reads just yet, but that sort of nonchalant chucking chips in, to me, is bluffy most of the time. I think that when you have a real value hand, you put a lot of thought into how much you can get paid. You put a little bit more thought into what your opponent might have.
Counting out a call.
And this bet is a third of the size of the pot.
Two biggest stacks at the table. Engaged in this pot. And there is the call from Fonseca Masis.
Garg says...
Well, he has an ace.
He does have an ace. Is that ace 4?
I think it's ace 4 for 2-pair, and 2-pair is good.
Not a bluff, 2-pair good.
And Garg boosts his lead at this table up to 152,000, 152 big blinds. Second biggest stack on the feature table right now is Aleks Dimitrov, who's got 91 big blinds. So Garg, look at that, he's increased his stack by almost a third.
Garg. Well, we all learned something there, that Garg chucks chips in when he's got it, at least once. God, if you're going to take a picture of Clara, be a little less obvious about it, brah.
So Fonseca Masis just lost that last pot. He's first to speak here. He folds. Aleks Dimitrov is going to raise.
I find Ryan Reiss to be pretty interesting. Always happy to see him at a feature table.
So Dimitrov is from Bulgaria. Qualified for this event online. Live earnings of just over $53,000 and came second in an event here in Panama already, the 3,200 Turbo Survivor.
What makes it a survivor, do we know?
10-10 deuce on the flop, 2 clubs. No c-bet from Dimitrov, so Reiss does the betting, 3,000. Dimitrov seems to be in check call mode, taking us to the turn, which is the 3 of hearts.
Sorry, I should have taken the stairs to get here. And that bet gets a fold.
Stefano says the air must be thinner in Panama because you guys are barely audible. Hopefully it should be a bit better now, Stefano.
Oh, no, it's just because I'm whispering. Oh, when I talk at a regular volume, that might have been the problem. I'm having a hard time updating the software, buddy. I'm trying to get in the free roll, but I mean, you know, open the client so I can. Do we have a regular? Let's try this one. See if that works.
Ryan Reiss has opened under the gun, 2,300 Called by table chip leader Lokesh Garg. And by Aleks Dimitrov in the big blind. 3-way to the flop. Ace, queen, tray. 2 spades.
I'm calling it right now. Lokesh Garg, final table. And that's the fold that's going to get him there.
Hold on a second. There was no bet to him, right? Oh, no. Reiss did fire a bet on the flop. We had him down as checking, but he had actually bet, hence the folds from his opponents.
We haven't seen a good open muck in a long time. I'm a fan.
Looks like we've got a new player coming to the table, filling the seat between Jake Cody and Jairo Escobar.
Oh my God, it's the Ultimate Warriors music! Oh no, it's not the Ultimate Warrior.
We only play 5 levels today, right?
Hey, it's Luca! Luca Vibaldi.
Yeah, Luca is running the main event here.
We will be done by like 7 p.m.
Were they like, he speaks Italian, it's like Spanish.
I think it'll be a little later than that because of dinner break. Or do we not get one? No dinner break?
No dinner break today, Ryan Reiss. 2 levels and a break, 2 levels and a break, and then 1 level, which should take us to around 7 o'clock local time. And with us only playing 5 rather than 6 levels today, the most important thing to say is that we probably will not hit the bubble on day 2. I know that's been happening at recent events since we changed the number of players, the percentage of the field that gets paid, but it looks like we'll have our world-famous bubble coverage at the start of day 3 tomorrow. So make sure you're with us at noon.
Where it
Eastern
belongs
Standard.
on day 3.
Actually, while we're talking about our world-famous bubble coverage, let's send positive greetings and get well soon wishes to the whole Pope, Neil Johnson, who's obviously been in hospital recently with a very serious illness. And we really hope that Neil was well rested and back on the tour soon. Sadly, I don't think we're going to see him at the next few events. But we miss you, Neil.
I also miss you, Neil.
You played 2 levels today.
Johnson. Do you think every time the doctor comes in to look at his chart, he's like, Mr. Johnson?
Question, would you want a doctor who laughed every time they saw your name?
Yes, I would. Doctors make me super. I used to have a doctor who I loved because he was kind of a screw-up, and that made me more comfortable because he wasn't all intimidating. So one time he looked at a thing in my back and went, never seen that before. And that just, his honesty really put me at ease. Giraffe Path on Twitch says, Stapes, can you play Narcos theme song every time someone says Escobar? I would love to. That would be hilarious. Unfortunately, I cannot.
That is a point, actually. Panama City did used to be associated with a different Escobar.
You know, when Narcos was happening, I tweeted something about the show, and like the official estate of Pablo Escobar retweeted me. So weird.
So there's been an opening raise from Aleks Dimitrov, and it's Jake Cody's big blind.
Oh,
and
you do not raise Jake Cody's big blind.
yeah, it was clear from the thinking that Jake was not considering whether to call here. He was deciding whether he wanted to 3-bet, and that is exactly what he does. Re-raising to 8,100.
Winner, winner, cake Jody dinner.
So we've established that the player who has just come to the feature table, sat in the 2-seat, is Felix Bleicher from Switzerland, bringing 46K to the table.
Which reminds me that Felix Schneiders is in the Twitch chat. Hello, Felixes. Felices.
That sounds so wrong.
I think that my hotel room is haunted by the ghost of Sammy Hagar, which is bizarre because he's still alive.
Raise from Ryan Reiss on the button and a call from Bleicher in the big blind. A 10-8-7 flop. 2 hearts. Action check to the pre-flop aggressor, and Reiss checks behind. Board pairs on the turn. Bleicher led the 5,000 on the turn, got a fold from Reiss. On to the next one.
I think Felix Bleicher would be the worst fake name ever for Felix Leiter. You're not fooling anyone. Do your little Felix, do it. Felix.
Felix, forget the shop.
Oh, we have our fun.
That's the American story on how the damn things were stolen.
What?
That's a genuine line from Never Say Never Again. Not officially part of the Bond canon, by the way, but I feel we've had this conversation many, many times.
We have. That's the one where he goes to the old folks' home.
It's Jake Cody's button.
You know, they should make it like a Bubba Hotep with James Bond. That'd be a cool movie, right? Like James Bond, like in his 90s, like telling all these stories about how he used to be a secret agent. Everyone thinks that he's full of it. And he's got to save the world one last time. He's palming his medication.
Not being funny, but I genuinely don't think Eon Productions know where to go next with the franchise, so maybe you should pitch this to Barbara Broccoli.
Barb?
So Dimitrov's raise, called by Escobar in the big blind. We have an ace-7-5 flop.
My buddy who cuts trailers did something having to do with the last Bond movie, and he said the Broccolis are impossible to deal with. He said that they're just really difficult.
Check, check on the flop. 9 of spades on the turn.
I can't even remember what the theme song for Narcos was.
You'd know it if you heard it.
I'm sure. All I can think of is the Breaking Bad one. It's not like that, is it?
No. Oh.
Oh, doo-doo-doo-doo, that one.
6 of clubs on the river. By the way, have you seen from our friend and colleague Matt Broughton that it is raining outside? Poor Matt was hoping to use his 1 level off today to get some pool time and has discovered that it is panoraining outside.
Picking up the action here, Dimitrov was the original raiser. Check, check on the flop, check, check on the turn.
Last chance for Dimitrov to bet here. Nope.
Yeah, check, check.
King 3.
That was the defend hand.
Is good.
Are you defending King 3 against the hijack raise? I think most of really good players probably are. I'm not. I'm also not good. Clearly.
In the next 5 minutes, you will get the password for today's PokerStars TV free roll. Just a quick heads up, if you want to find the game in the PokerStars lobby, just go into the tournament section, turn all the filter nonsense off, and just search PokerStars Space TV. And that will bring up the 5 free rolls we've got planned for the next 5 days.
This is it says king high like a boss. That's where we're on right now.
Jake Cody in action again, raising from the cutoff. Escobar in the small blind this time.
Surrenders the small. Garg's in, though.
Yeah, he defends his big. Heads up to a flop of 7-5-3.
Is that a donk lead from Garg?
Yep. Well, the first time we've seen him do that at this table. 3,000.
Jake Cody not folding.
9 of clubs on the turn.
Now Garg checks.
And Jake checks behind.
Whoa, no, he did not check yet.
Oh, I think he was establishing whether Garg had checked,
yeah.
And Clara obviously misunderstood.
Really interesting, that donk lead for more than half the pot from Garg. I don't think it's going to get too many folds, mostly because if you really smash this flop, aren't you going to, like, check and let your opponent continue and check raise?
So Jake reclaims the betting lead, 8,100 into a pot of 11,700.
He's really testing Garg's mettle here. This is a really chunky bet.
And a significant percentage of Jake's remaining chips. He's only got 25K behind.
I think a lot of players are going to donk lead with like a pair and a draw.
Yeah.
I really like a donk lead there if you flop a set or if you somehow have defended with 4-6. Because like I said, I don't think you're going to get a lot of folds. But I think most players feel pretty comfortable leading out there with like 4-5 or 6-7.
So Garg folds, Jake Cody up to a 45 big blind stack. Still below the average, which is 68,000 with 162 players remaining. Roughly half an hour into day 2 of the PokerStars Championship main event. 40 minutes to run on this level. Then we'll roll straight into level 10, which is the 600-1200 level. First break, 75 minutes after that. Talking of breaks, Michael says, can we see the next poker in the ears during the breaks like we did in the Bahamas? Towards the end of the tournament you will, Michael, but obviously we haven't recorded it yet.
Yeah.
We're going to be recording the InVision version of the podcast at the start of day 4.
Grizzly on Twitch asks, what are the blinds, Joe? Those are the forced bets that people have to put in at the start of every hand. Rotates around the table. Thank you for your question.
So Ryan Reiss's raise, called by Garg in the small blind.
Garg.
And Marc-Olivier Perrault, the table shorty, calls as well out of a 14 big blind stack. And we have a 10-6-3 flop. So yes, confirmation that all three of us, Joe, Matt, and myself, will be recording the next episode of Poker in the Ears here in Panama, probably on day 4 of the main, and you'll get to see that hopefully either towards the end of day 5 or on day 6, which is final table day, cards up day. Well, Reiss has continued into 2 opponents, 3,500, and Garg has executed the check raise once again, 8,500, gets a fold from 2 players, chips up to 153K.
Very lucky for Garg. The check raise was just made legal in Panama at the start of 2017.
Hashtag fake facts.
I almost went for that.
Balboa is actually a district that's very close to the canal. But I prefer my story. So here we go. Perrault all in for 14K, called by Cody, who was the original raiser. Jacks against ace 10. Cody with the pair, 72% favorite. Perrault looking for an ace.
Annoying spot for ace 10. Jake did raise fairly early, but you know, Jake's gonna be raising pretty wide. So I think ace 10, when ace 10 jams, it's gonna get folds a fair percentage of the time. I don't think when you get called though, you're gonna be in great shape. Wonder what the smallest pair. You'd be flipping with Jake some of the time, I guess.
Well, that is gonna make it very hard for Perrault to survive. A jack high flop, top set for Cody. Perrault has paired his 10, so a little bit of hope.
Yeah, I mean, there's still 2 10s in the deck, and he's going to need both of them.
Well, there's all over on the turn. We say goodbye, or rather, au revoir to Marc-Olivier Perrault as he exits during the first level of day 2 of this tournament. That'll leave us with around 160 players in the main event. A bit later on today, we should actually get the prize pool information and, of course, learn how many players will make the money and also how big the first prize is. And as we've mentioned a few times, unlikely that we'll see the bubble burst today. We're only playing 5 rather than 6 levels today, so world-famous bubble coverage probably at the top of day 3. Steve Fair has just joined us. He tweets,
Church, Steve.
Hashtag PokerStars TV. Is this still the final table at Rosvedov?
Final table has just reached heads up, I'm hearing. James, you said we might get the prize pool info. When are we going to get the pool info? Because I want to go for a swim.
If you want to swim, if you want to go swimming in the rain, Joe, be my guest.
Swimming in the rain's fun as long as there's no lightning.
So action folded here to Felix Bleicher in the hijack, and this looks like a raise. Round to the blinds. Just Aleks Dimitrov in the big to get through. He defends. So we're going to see another flop.
That flop is 9-5, a tray. Rain Bizzle. Dimitrov continuing, Bleicher continuing for 2,000, gets the fold from Dimitrov.
So we mentioned that Jamie Staples was one of the shortest, if not the shortest stack coming into play on day 2. I can tell you that Jamie Staples has been eliminated. Jamie Staples is out of the main event. Jamie all in with ace-6 against Alberto Matthias's queens.
Hey, what?
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is hashtag death by quads.
Jeez. I guess if you're going to lose huge. Jamie off to get that haircut tightened up a little bit. I said a 0. This is clearly a 1.5.
So Jamie Staples gone. Other early eliminations include Rumen Nanev and Diego Ventura. A reminder that the team at the PokerStarsblog.com are providing updates from the floor, plus, of course, up-to-date chip counts on all the big names in the tournament.
Three bet. Hey, I noticed my annoying sound effects didn't make it.
A lot of stuff got lost in crates between the Bahamas and Panama.
It's in like the 4th layer of the canal right now.
So it seems, according to our friends of the blog, there were 4 players who bought in at the start of day 2. Bryn Kenny, Eric Seidel, Ambrose Ing, and Martin Jakobsen. Those are the 4 players who came in with a starting stack of 30,000 just before registration closed at the start of play today.
Eric Dell. That was a bad sigh. That was more like a yawn. Eric Dell. Mac Milker, who says, Joe Staves, why does the dealer have a headset? That is so the dealer can communicate with the graphics department. So when Jake Cody raises to 10,000, she says, C1, raise 10,000. And then they put it in the old computadora, and then the graphics pop up on screen. And that is how babies are made. Graphical babies. By Graphical Hue.
Under the gun race here from Bleicher.
You know, as long as we're shouting out people who are sick and or injured, Graphical Hue has an arm injury, and apparently he strained it trying to reach up the underside of a vending machine. Really wanted a Kit Kat.
Well, the story I heard is he got on the wrong side of the other players in the home game in Cardiff.
Oh, the Cardiff home game. My PokerStars clients finally updated as Ryan Reiss wins this pot with a 3-bet out of the small blind. So I will be... What's my PokerStars username? I think I remember it. Oh, goodness gracious.
What's wrong?
It just took like an hour to update, but it updated the wrong thing. So now I have to do it again.
What's the issue? Have you got more than one PokerStars client?
I have 3.
Ah.
I have New Jersey, United Kingdom, and then Rao. You know, I think there's a gigantic Sunday Million happening this Sunday. I'm in the UK next also. Might horse around with that.
Sounds like adventures in online poker for the podcast, Joe.
Gonna have to extend my trip possibly, though. There's that big... that big hippodrome.
Yes.
Thing is happening, too.
These new deep stack events, which I think are going to be very popular. So Reiss opened from the button. Bleicher defended his big blind. Check, check on the flop.
Deja vu.
And Bleicher leads turn.
You got it.
You got it, says Reiss.
Listen.
7 got shown.
It is always coming 7. So we're going to take a look around the room now at some of the players sat at the outer tables here in the tournament room at the Sortis. Starting with the start of day chip leader, Igor Yaroshevsky.
Man, I would have guessed Charlie Carroll from that jacket.
Jason Kuhn, American high roller, started the day third in chips. Sandwiched between him and Igor on the leaderboard was MMA superstar Tito Ortiz, who's looking very focused. That is Fabian Ortiz, final tableist from the Bahamas a few years back, but also won an LAPT here in Panama back in 2014.
Tito's brother?
A couple of years before that, Leo Fernandez won here in Panama. And we've got a few high rollers in the field, including Steve O'Dwyer, sat next to Uri Reichenstein. Martin Finger.
Maybe we should play Stapes Finger or Martin Finger later.
Davide Katai. And one of the players who bought in at the start of day 2, 2014 World Series main event champ, Martin Jakobsen.
Cool. Martin Jakobsen, handsome for a man, looking better than ever.
A few people asking for the free roll password who may have missed the announcement earlier on. Balboa, B-A-L-B-O-A, Balboa is the password that will get you in. Now, why does my free roll say that only one person is registered? That can't be right. $4,500. That sounds more like it. 4,600 now.
So while we were checking out the field, we missed a raise from Garg. And this time it's Escobar who has decided to donk lead the flop.
Yeah, after defending his big blind pre, Garg called that bet of 2,700. So now we're on the turn. Escobar is checked. Garg retakes the betting lead.
This board is a board I really hate donk leading if you're trying to get folds. Like, just nobody's ever gonna believe you. Yeah. Nice try, Lao She.
So Garg still table captain with 156,000. Average stack right now, 68,000. 160 remaining from the 366 who started. There's the chip counts of all 7 players currently on the main stage. Chances are we'll mix things up and bring you a new feature table after the first break of the day, which is pretty much an hour and a half away.
Do you think that if we built an octagon around the feature table that Tito Ortiz would just find his way to it?
Jay Cody opening here from the cutoff. How are you getting on with your PokerStars client, Joe? This, at the moment, is resembling Matt's Windows update from Prague. No, you're in?
We're in.
Excellent. King 7-4 on the flop. Garg defending his big blind to Jake Cody's cutoff open.
The bad news is there's a tournament starting right now I really want to play. This $30 no-limit hold'em turbo progressive knockout.
Restrain yourself. I need you focused.
I really want to play it. Ah.
So check on the flop. Garg checks a second time. Delayed C-bet from Jake Cody.
We're in the free roll.
Well, that's good news. Don't forget, Joe has a $100 bounty on his head, as does Matt Broughton, a.k.a. Waster, and myself, J. Hartigan. Knock any of us out, it's $100 in your PokerStars account. Plus, of course, the free roll has a $2,000 prize pool.
Hello, welcome to the table. Have a seat. Join us. Where are you from? What's your name? You done, son? Asking me, you want me to stake you in the $30 knockout? No, I appreciate it. It's not. I'm not. I'm time poor.
Douglas Fairley sends greetings from Calgary, and we send greetings from Panama back in your general direction, Douglas. Thank you for watching.
Calgary, that's in Canada, isn't it?
Yes, Joe.
Interesting story about how...
Careful, someone who was watching yesterday's rehearsal might say they've heard it a third time.
I'm going to skip it for now, but it's not the last you've heard that story.
Hashtag PokerStars TV if you want to get in touch on Twitter. Joe keeping an eye on the live chat at twitch.tv/PokerStars as we see a Queen 9-3 flop here. Check, check. Jake was the pre-flop aggressor. And Stephen Thompson Villa, who's just joined the feature table, is going to lead the turn. Jake calls.
Pretty interesting when you watch certain players, amateurs specifically, folks who don't have the eye of the tiger, if you will. Sometimes they just give up on a hand. Sometimes they're like, I'm not going to win this hand after the flop, once they get called pre-flop.
What did he have there?
And Jake, you can see the wheels turning on every single street. How can I win this pot?
10-9. Where's the hand there?
Okay, so pair of nines. Yeah?
Yeah.
Whereas the rest of us sometimes are like, please bet so I can fold. Who are you, bro? On Twitch asks, can you give a shout out to my ex? Yes, we can. Thank you for your question. And I agree with user 1542 on Twitch who says you can't see the hole cards because they are dealt face down. Crucial to the game of poker that the cards be dealt face down. I have been pitching cards up hold'em for a long time now. They've yet to take me up on it. They don't seem to understand the nuance. It's a bluffing game.
You see, you joke, but do you remember that hand? I think it was from a Spanish TV show.
Yes.
Where that guy is playing with his cards up. And even though the other player can see his hole cards, he still loses the hand.
It's not just that he loses the hand. He, like, calls down with a worse hand.
Yes.
Like, I understand losing the hand, like, because you'd fold, right? You'd fold.
Yeah,
to
but I mean,
hand.
he loses at showdown.
Jaffe's got an interesting suggestion. Hole cards face up, community cards face down.
You have to guess.
Yeah.
And then at showdown, it's revealed one by one.
Yeah. What a sweat. That would just be called sweat, I think. Sweat poker.
So Cody, the pre-flop aggressor here. Continued flop for 3,000. Set to fire again on the turn. And once again, Garg calling. 31,000 in the middle, deuce of clubs.
Cody versus Garg. Cody, Fire and River. after firing flop and turn. This feels like a king a lot of the time. Wonder if Garg thinks this long with a king he's not so sure about.
The donation from Garg.
It's probably worse than a king. Jake shows ace, queen.
Not flush.
Wow, so backs his way into the flush.
It's nice to be Jake Cody. It was Garg who had the king.
Yeah.
So Jake adds 30K to his stack and is now second in chips at the table. 86 big blinds for the member of Team Pro. Meanwhile, I'm hearing from our spies on the floor that Martin Jakobsen is out after lasting an hour in the tournament. Remember, he bought in at the start of the day, and now he is gone. We are down to 154 players as we come to the end of the first level of the day. 4 more levels to play today. 75-minute levels on day 2. We'll switch to 90-minute levels from tomorrow. Now, I don't like it when people decide that they're going to spam the hashtag PokerStars TV timeline. I particularly don't like it when they spam it with inferior merchandise. I'm sorry, those poker chips are rubbish.
Oh, these ones? Yeah, they're pretty bad. Should we see how much they cost? Yeah, there's so much happening on this website. It makes my eyes hurt. No thanks. I mean, if they want to send me a free chip set, though, I'll be sure to mention them every 6 minutes.
3,100.
Undersea Monkey points out that about 10 years ago, the World Series of Poker had a blind man's bluff bracelet where you held your cards on your head, only you didn't see them. Hashtag fun facts. I think that's how Daniel won one of his bracelets, right?
I think it was deuce to 7 blind man's bluff.
So Garg still table captain. Jake Cody not that far behind. Jairo Escobar brings up the rear, but is still playing 43 big blinds. A pretty healthy stack. Tournament average